All right, and we are live. And hello, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of the Human Perimeter podcast, where me, Simon, and my co-host André Daus will take you through a
Hi
journey.
there.
We'll take you through a journey where we tackle the cybersecurity things from more technical standpoint and also from psychology standpoint. So we cover both sides because those kind of things are not very talked about, and that's why Andre is strategic opposition, red team, red thinker, and he will most likely have his own thoughts from the mind standpoint, as I can say. And me, as I run business, I'm managing servers, provide MSP services in the cloud, so I tend to do things more from the technical things. So I hope you will like it, and again, welcome to our second episode of the Human Perimeter podcast. If you want, you can ask your questions in the chat. Make sure you put the square bracket with question so we can see it. And when the times come, we will answer all of your questions. And yeah, I'm giving you a word, Andre.
Yeah, thank you. You already said everything. So I also do some IT stuff, but I think my my main part is the psychological one because I worked a lot with people. I worked a lot in the financial industry, and I think that today's topic could also fit directly into it. So I might throw in some real world examples I actually had with security officers in the financial industry, because
Yep.
that perfectly fits to some of the examples of today's topic. And today's topic is people are not the weakest link. Even if many organizations and many reports tell you otherwise.
Yep, I can agree, and I'm just waiting until the church bells stop ringing because it's 6 o'clock now, so it's quite annoying. But yeah, today episode is the weakest link, and uh, for 30 years, the security industry has called people the weakest link, and it is the most repeated sentence in cybersecurity, and is also wrong. And actually, the Inge Wetzer, a PhD, a cybersecurity psychologist who presented at the Sun Security Awareness Summit in 2025, put it plainly. The weakness is not in the people. The weakness is in how the industry understand them. So, yeah, people are not the weakest link, but they are the perimeter. So, this episode will explain what it actually means.
Okay, so what does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? Well, we will explain later when we go through some talking points we have. And yeah, our first episode of the Human Perimeter podcast was like a story, right? And this episode is like more like an argument. Do you feel that way, Andre?
Yeah, so the idea came from a study where someone from psychology stepped into cybersecurity. And many people might think, why should someone from psychology step into cybersecurity? That's a total IT topic, isn't it? And we
Yeah.
can make IT totally secure. So if something happens, then it must be the human. And that is precisely where this quote comes from. The, the human is the weakest link. And psychology shows us this is not really true. And there is scientific backup for this um, for for this term. So it's not the human who is the weakest link. The problem is that we often misunderstand or mix up causality and correlation. And this is precisely what happened here as well. You might have heard that already, but in this case, it is, from my perspective, precisely the main reason why we are telling people that humans are the weakest link.
Yep, yep, that's exactly that. And this episode will argue the opposite. So, and the perimeter is the most important thing that you can actually have. The work is to defend it, equip it, and trust it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, what do we have here? I think introduction was done correctly, and uh, from one standpoint, when somebody send me message or support ticket that something is not working, and if something breaks, right? In IT, we all know is 99% always the DNS, right? But when I don't know, when I say user error, sometimes I should be also saying a design error, right? Because most of those user errors can be tracked, for example, to systems that I design and that I manage. What if I could do a couple things more user friendly so this error does not happen, right?
Yeah, we have a saying in Germany that goes like the error sits, or the problem sits in front of the monitor. It
That's true.
usually means precisely the same. And in times like Windows 95, someone someone was quite nervous, and he came to me and said, "Well, I deleted the internet," and I answered, it was you." And what he actually mean is he just deleted the icon to the Internet Explorer under Windows 95.
Yeah.
So in that case, he was indeed the problem because he did something he didn't know about. And that is precisely one part of the equation, something what people know. If they don't know how to behave, then they can't behave correctly, can we?
Yeah. But also, like, I'm full on, the zero trust principles. I put security behind the user convenience, right? And if they don't agree with the security standards, well, then I got no things left to do, for example, with them, because I'm really strict about security standards. And
I can
for
confirm.
yeah. And for example, a simple password rotation policy that you rotate your password every three months, can potentially turn it into a sticky note. And what would happen if somebody got access to that system? Who would be to blame? Would I be the blame that I put like simple password rotation policy, or the user who keep those passwords in a sticky note? That's one example. Another example can be that, yeah, I think this is really great example about this password rotation, because when I design, for now, I hate passwords. They are not secure anymore, right? First thing. Second thing, you should use passkeys all the time, but there are systems or people that I also know and work with. They still don't know what is the passkey. So, I set some standards, minimum 48 character password, etc. And they need to rotate it. They need to use password manager, otherwise they won't be able. And yeah, it can turn into disaster because I enforce those strict rules.
But this is actually a problem because in the financial industry where I worked, you're not allowed to install a password manager. But there are also rules, some strict rules that you have to create a new password every couple of months. And it has to be a long password. and it must not be too similar to the last one. And it must not be too similar to something someone could guess from you personally.
I have simple solution.
Wait for it. Well, I I've been in that situation, and
Wow.
it drives people crazy to find a new password which is always new. And they simply cannot remember that because it needs to be rather complicated and not too similar to the old one. Whereas in fact, there are studies that show that rotating the password doesn't make it more secure.
I know.
Precisely because of this. So people start to write it on a post-it note and put it on their monitor.
Yeah.
And this is what actually happened. And I met one employee who said, I'm pretty clever because he put it underneath the keyboard. So nobody could see that. But each time he needed to log into the computer, he just turned around the keyboard just to read the password and turn it around the back. So everyone knows where the password was,
Yeah.
even if it was not right in front of them. So maybe not the cleaning personnel didn't know that, but everyone else knew precisely the password.
Yeah. And yeah, as I mentioned, very simple solution for to do it. And where is actually mine? 1 second. And that is, the hardware YubiKey, hardware
Ah,
token.
hardware YubiKey.
That's
I'm just playing the security officer now, right? Oh my gosh, you're not allowed to put anything externally into the computer. So that would then be something that the organization provides. And if you now look at the prices of a YubiKey, oh my gosh, that is a lot of money.
and what's the price if somebody got hacked?
That's not what they ask. They just need to maintain it. They need to buy it. They need to provide it, and
Yeah.
then they need to teach people how to use it. I know it's pretty simple. You just put it in and put your finger on. My wife used one of these in their company, one of these YubiKeys,
Yeah.
and she always told me we have a fingerprint sensor, and I told her it's not a fingerprint sensor. It's just a sensor that tells the computer you are there, and not just the stick. But she was convinced it's a fingerprint sensor. So it
But some
is.
YubiKeys, I think the biometric they have now, the Bio series, they have the fingerprint.
Yeah, the Bio series has, yeah, but
Yeah.
she didn't have that. She
Yeah.
precisely the same as I have. So I use those YubiKeys as well.
Yeah. And yeah, you are right. It's not like 70 euros for basic 5C YubiKey is fine, right? But if you working in those high institutions, you need some FIPS certified YubiKeys. And also, if you're working in data centers, one single YubiKey can cost thousands. and and data centers are buying those in big trays where you got 100 on top, those kind of things. But simple hardware key, right, can save you and save your company from disaster. It replaces the passwords. You don't need to use passwords. It's phish resistant, and plus you always have your main YubiKey, your backup YubiKey, and also you can store your passkeys in a one password or Bitwarden if it's allowed in your organization. But modern organization should have managed password manager. And if that financial institution want to work with us, I'm MSP with Bitwarden and I can manage their whole organization.
So I know that some financial institutions use chip cards. And those chip cards are needed to log into the computer, and they're also needed to open the doors. So that means the chip card is always with the employees. So if they leave their workplace, even if they just need to go to the restroom, they need to keep the card with them. Otherwise, they won't get out or in. So,
Yeah.
and as soon as they pull it out of the keyboard, the computer is locked automatically. The next time they log in, they just put in the card, and then they have to type in a PIN code. So that is, I think, that is a a good example of how you can manage it, even if you do not need to buy and install password managers and need to update them at the same time and or buy YubiKeys. You need these chip cards to get through the doors anyway. And if you can log in to the computer and out automatically, even better. So that is one solution.
It is a solution, but it's not secure. Can you tell me why?
Yep. Why?
Okay, first, those chip cards are NFC, near field communication. They can be scraped. You can record your own card, or you can steal someone employee's card and you can open the door and you can open the computer if it's done automatically. The thing is with hardware token that even if you plug your hardware token, you need to have your master password for their token.
The same for the card. So if you want to log in, then you need the PIN code for the card. You can open the door, but you cannot log in.
Yeah, but the difference is the card is phished. It can be phished. It can be cloned. YubiKey cannot.
Yeah, but just the NFC,
Yeah, the chip.
not the chip itself. If you put it there's a physical card reader in the keyboard. These are special keyboards, and then you need to put in a physical card. I know that I think it's Bloomberg for the Bloomberg, the now infamous Bloomberg terminals, where you now need biological sensors.
Yeah.
And when that was introduced a couple of years ago, many traders were reluctant to do that because they do not want to give their biometrical data to an US company. But that is secure by design because you don't forget your finger and nobody steals it usually. And even if someone steals it, it has to have the right temperature. So that is then one step further, but it was just for the trading floor, not for everyone else.
I mean, we can talk about those physical perimeters later in episodes. For now, we can just focus that we are not the weakest link, but I would argue that depends.
I thought about that. I thought, and I read the study from the psychologist, and one thing that I find quite interesting is how behavior has been defined, because behavior is nothing that adds up. Behavior is something that multiplies.
Yeah.
So behavior is the ability. So you need to be able to do something times the motivation times the opportunity. If any of these three variables is zero, behavior is zero. So if you don't motivate the employees, why should they do that? If you don't give them the opportunity to do that, why should they do that? And if they do not know what to do, it's even worse, because then they can't do that even if they want to.
Yeah.
So that means zero motivation or zero opportunity wipes out all the training investment, even if you do a training. So I know many organizations who do these infamous security trainings where people just sit there and click. They click through and next question, next question, next question. I once was responsible for auditing such trainings, and I declared each training as crap. The problem was there was no training left, and I said, "Well, then someone needs to invent one." I was willing to do that, but the company who hired me just wanted to buy something, and then they wanted to be good to go. But yeah, the problem was that you simply can click through. So the questions were so simple to answer, even if you answered wrong, then you got a next try until you got it. And there were some sophisticated trainings. They're all online trainings, right? Some sophisticated trainings where you must not click too fast, because if you're too fast, then you can't read the question in that time.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't need to read the question. I just read the answer, and I know which one is right.
Yeah,
So that is just a dump training. That is theater. That is nothing that helps you to train people.
exactly. That's
And
that's the
security trainings is not the only training. If you've, again, financial industry, you have a lot of mandatory trainings about products, about regulations, about jurisdictions, about legislations, and all this kind of stuff. And people get annoyed. Oh my gosh, I need to do another training, another training. I just click that through.
yeah.
And that is annoying. If you annoy people, you automatically demotivate them.
Yeah,
And then you have that. If you demotivate people, the behavior will drop to zero.
yeah. Like my wife, when she was starting in a new job in a bank, and she got bunch of lessons and online training, so she lie down on the couch, watch TV, and then she put phone to never dim, so the video can go and on. So exactly what you are talking about about those things.
I needed to do those trainings as a consultant when I was external to the company, but I was forced to do these trainings as well. And I said to them, "Well, you hire me because I know all this stuff. So why
Yeah,
are you forcing me to do the trainings again, even if those crap?" And they said, "These are the rules. Just do it." It
yeah,
took me 2 days just of doing the trainings, but they paid me for doing the trainings. I learned nothing new because I knew that already, and, if you can just click through, then there's nothing to learn anyway.
yeah. That's exactly true. And also now some big corporations, if somebody needs to be trained, they have now the systems where you need to have a webcam and they will monitor you if you are paying attention to exactly what's happening on the screen, which is which which is crazy, how technology is going up. And those kind of things where you are being watched, you are being the product, and you cannot do anything. And I want to go back to that Bloomberg example, what you said, that they don't like giving their own data. But Bloomberg is data harvesting mega corporation. They want all data from all the internet from you to sell it, which is
That that is that is an important distinction because what the traders didn't want was their personal fingerprint to go to Bloomberg. Before
ah,
that, they had these fancy readers. It's like a check card,
mhm.
and I'm not quite sure how which way it was. So there's a flashy, colorful sign, and you need to scan that, and that has to match your card, and then you have to enter the code from the card. That was pretty fancy. They wanted that back, even if just the fingerprint was way easier. Um, but I don't know. It's a long time ago since I did my last financial project. I'm not quite sure what the current status is. So
Yeah,
I would suggest that currently it's still fingerprinting, biometrical
yeah.
data.
And also, continue. Sorry.
Yep, no, no, no. I just wanted to go back to the example and to the report.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And another thing, what I also learned from my own experience and also from others, for example, what company have strict rules what software you must use on your working machine, right? So people, when people use those tools that are not sanctioned by the company, they are telling you not straight to the face that those tools you provide them fail them, right? And most of the time the response is we cannot allow. But the response should not be to ban those tools. Response should be ask why the tool did it better. Most of the time it was faster, simpler, or more accessible. Build that, and sanction tools dies on its own. What do you think? I think you also have experience with this.
Yep. I think I would agree. If you, I should say that. I think that's the same thing with motivation. So if you do not motivate people to do something, and even worse, if you force them to do it differently as they want,
Yep.
then they are quite reluctant to behave that way. There's we can learn something from the military here, which is what the military calls mission command. I know that might be a bit tricky in certain organizations, especially in highly regulated environments like insurance companies or banks. But what the military calls mission command, or the Germans call that Auftragstaktik, which is precisely the same, mission command. So you tell your soldiers what the goal is. And the reason why you do that is because you already have the specialists. They already know how to do it.
Yeah.
They just need to know what to do. So if an employee comes to you as a security officer and tells you, well, it would be great if we could use password managers, for instance, because passwords are so complicated to remember. Usually security officers will tell you, these are the rules. That's how we work here. Get over it. And in fact, what they should do is telling the employee that this is actually a good idea. If you do that, then you motivate those employees because their ideas get heard.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is pretty important. That doesn't mean that you always need to do what each employee asks you for, but if you give them at least the feeling that you really think about that and you take this into account, this is basically what I do with my clients. So many clients asked for a solution. So the board asked the security department, we need a solution for secure passwords. So what do? Way of least resistance is create complicated password policies. Job done.
Yep.
But the employees now need to remember all these complicated passwords, and they need to change it. That must not be too similar to the old ones. And this then becomes a problem. So if an employee then comes up and says, why don't we use password managers? The first reaction should be, hey, it's a great idea. Let's think about that. But that's not what happens. But I want to come back to the psychology report, because I talked about this behavior and ability and motivation opportunity thing. The report came out with numbers, and I want to share some of those numbers. The researcher did some research. Well, what researchers do? So
research.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I think in German and then try to do it in English, and sometimes the other way around. So so bear with me. So they asked 1,155 employees, which is a pretty good number for a research, in 20 healthcare organizations. So it's not just in one organization. It was diverse. And they tested 15 or 16 security topics. And the result was that overall, 62% know precisely what to do. But only 31% actually did it. So 2/3 did. This is less than many people think. So 2/3 already knew what to do. Not quite 2/3, but almost 2/3. And 1/3 then of those 2/3 really did it. That is like locking your PC screen. 88% know it, but only 42% did it.
Yeah, that's...
Same with passwords. Strong password, that they also been tested. 82% knew it. but only 31% did it.
That's the sad numbers, but that's the reality where we live.
Yeah, this is where this formula then came from, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about training, because that is what many organizations then try to do. They add training, because they say if they don't do that, then because the humans are the weakest link, we need to train them. This is the causality and correlation. It's late already. Problem, right?
Yeah.
I think just need to look that up. I need to look that up. I checked.
Go ahead, look it up because I have also like a personal story to tell you.
Yeah, it's on my show. It's our show. Go ahead.
And I don't know if you heard it already, but this is my insurance agent story. So I
Yep,
went to
know
the
that.
insurance agency to renew my vehicle policy, and I realized that he was working on a personal laptop, that he's using that for everything, for the company, for the business, for his personal life. So after it was done, when I come home, I send him a follow-up link to a page I built in the email, right? Click this link, to check this. And he clicked it, and the page said, if this was malicious, I would have just stolen every cookie and piece of data from your browser. Insurance company logins included, you know. And he called me. Where is it? And he called me next day, not angry. He was grateful. I set him up with a password manager and some protections, separate networks, and firewall, right? And now the question is, who who is at fault? Who was the weakest link in this chain? Company he was working for that does not provide him uh, managed devices, or he didn't got enough of training or knowledge,
Mhm.
or 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 I was the bad guy.
This might be a good question for the audience, because you asked me a similar question last time already, and I would answer precisely the same this time.
Remind me.
I just wait it. Just wait a second.
Okay.
Maybe someone who's currently. I know that some people are watching us. It's always in the beginning. I did that a couple of years ago, and in the beginning, nobody dared to write a comment. But maybe the next time.
Don't be afraid. We don't bite.
Last time I answered that there is no right or wrong, or there is no precise answer to that, and I believe the same is true here. So it is not a single fault. It is, you always have to look at the situation, not just at a single task. So question is
Situation.
it the fault of the one person who used their private notebook, or is it because he did not secure the notebook, or because he did not use any password managers on the notebook? These are already three different things. So it's not just this one person. On the other hand, if I tried that with my own notebook, and my notebooks usually are pretty secure. And I tried to log into the public network in a financial institution, and this didn't work. So they didn't let me in. And so I asked, why is that public? Well, because it's not only for employees, not for externals.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the difference? So do they have corporate devices? No, they don't. They have private devices, but it's only for employees. But there was another security barrier. So they didn't knew me because I was external, and I think it's difficult, or more difficult, to do something against externals than to internal employees. And so they just let in internal employees into a separate network where they can access the internet. So
Yeah.
the same is true in your story. So the company could have done some security measures to not let externals go into the network with their private devices, especially if they are not secured.
Exactly.
So I don't think there is a real answer, right or wrong.
But there
But
should be some standards that are follow every day in every company
yeah,
around the globe.
yeah, I talk a lot to web developers, and they ask me, yeah, what is the best plugin to secure my website? And I said, I always say the same to them. Security is not a plugin. Security is a concept.
Exactly.
It happens
Exactly.
on many layers, on many stages. It's not just I install a plugin and then I'm good to go. This does not work. But this brings me to another interesting thing, and I think that closes the loop after all. The Verizon data breach investigation report, this is what we're basically talking about,
Yeah.
has the human element at 60 to 70% of breaches in recent years.
Yep.
So now, question, is that an argument for the framing or is it an argument against it?
As you said, it depends on the situation.
And I have a different answer this time. I'm sorry.
Okay. And yeah, and also to remind you, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, and we will be more than happy to answer all of your questions. And now
I'm going to answer that question.
we have question.
No, my question. I just
Okay.
asked. So, is that an argument for a framing or against it? That was a question.
Well, I think it's tough one. It's tough one.
No, it's pretty simple.
Go ahead.
In fact, I already gave the answer.
Almost.
I'm just about to make it a cliffhanger for the next episode, but that would be unfair. There would be 2 weeks waiting. No, I think the report is totally correct because the report just shows what happens.
Yeah.
And the human element at 60 to 70% of these breaches, I think that is true because in 60 to 70% of all those breaches, humans were in the loop. But that does not mean that humans were the weakest link. It's just a correlation. Because if you do not have humans, then many things don't go wrong. In fact, they don't even happen.
Or everything can go wrong without humans.
Yeah, depends on. If you don't do something, then usually nothing happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes something breaks, yes. But not all of the time. I think what is important here is to realize that this is just a correlation. Humans are involved, but they are not the root cause of these incidents, of these breaches. Maybe they have been used, they have been exploited because technology-wise, there was just the opportunity to break into a system because they sent someone a kitten image via email and the employee clicked on it. Oh, look at this nice kitten. And clicked on it, and then you get some malware installed. Then the human is in the loop, but it's not the weakest link.
But question is why they are targeting those people from those companies?
That is a good question, but I'm afraid it's the wrong question.
I think it's a good question.
Because malicious outsiders are not targeting the ones who are not specific people in an organization. What they target is a pattern or a structure. That's what they target. They don't care if employee A or employee B clicks on the kitten. They just care about someone clicks on the kitten. See what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But the question is why, for example, this Verizon, right?
Yeah.
And the Verizon is company the telco company, they know what you are browsing, they got your data, they got you everything, and they are selling that. And if companies around the world start being a little bit responsible with the data they are doing, maybe they won't be a target for those hacker groups to get this data. You know what I mean? From which angle I'm attacking? That is not.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, this is a target against a pattern,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
against a single person. We have,
It's,
I, how late is it? Okay. I can just bring another example, a German example, typically German. A friend just told me, just bring some more German examples. So I bring one. And Germans are quite skeptical currently, looking across the Atlantic to the US,
oh yeah,
especially to the Trump administration. And
definitely.
if you talk to especially schools or some other strange people, um, it seems that they are under the impression that Donald Trump in person is at the airport and checking their phone. So just let me see what's on your phone. Every German, not every, but many Germans think that Google, AI, Meta, the US administration, they are just targeting a single person. And I don't want to tell them what's on my phone. Donald Trump just wants to know what I tweeted. No, he doesn't care about what you tweeted.
Exactly.
That is important. What is important is the pattern.
Pattern, yeah.
AI works as a pattern. The European Union is the same. The European Commission, the same with AI. Are we not? We want to know how AI works. Well, so we can explain, but I highly doubt that the European Commission will fully understand how that works because that is higher mathematics, and there is no if then else, right?
Yeah.
And the same is true for cybersecurity. So there is no one targeting a single person. If they do that, then this must be a very high value target, because otherwise it won't be worth the effort.
We can talk about this later. The NSO, Pegasus, Greece, Athens, politicians, a single person.
Yeah. Totally agree.
It's
Totally
gonna
agree.
be that's gonna be
But
for another episode. But
I'm talking about organizations
yeah,
with 10,000 employees. So they might target the high value targets as the CEO, the CFO, but they usually do not have the access. We talked about that last week or last time already, right? Yeah,
yeah.
same thing. Yeah, um, but yeah, it must be very very sophisticated. It's much more easier to target patterns.
Yeah, the patterns can be like bad habits. It's hard to get them out.
Yeah,
It's hard to
sure.
learn new one.
Yeah, sure. So
Anyway,
you need to
yeah,
be aware of your own patterns.
exactly.
And but this is awareness, but awareness does not come through training.
That's why I found the Webnestify education, non-profit organization, and I want to teach and spread the cybersecurity awareness lessons around the world.
So if the human would be the weakest link, would you have started it?
Definitely,
If the human would be the weakest link,
yes. That changed nothing.
okay,
At
good
least,
answer.
at least in my eyes, they changed nothing because it doesn't matter who is at fault. What matters that those people got hurt, can get hurt. Money
Yep,
gets stolen, they can go bankrupt, lose
yep,
everything.
yep,
So
yep,
it doesn't matter what did what, why, etc.
yep.
We need to tackle those problems from the higher standards, basically. Anyway, and now questions to you, all listeners and viewers. What's your move for this week? And check, have I been pwned? enter your emails, your passwords, and check that everything is safe. And Have I Been Pwned is a free service by Troy Hunt where you can monitor if your email or passwords haven't been pwned in some hacker databases or yeah in some breaches. And this is really great tool to get information if something pops up. If s- if something already is in the database, don't use that email. Set up a new one. Create strong passwords, or even better, don't use passwords. Use passkey if some services allow it. So the point, is not to feel scared. So try it, check it, and let us know in the comments, or feel free to send us questions, feedback via email, and we will be more than happy answer everything and get back something to you.
Yeah, and we will put all the links down in the description for all of those who did not watch today and just want the link.
Yeah. And also, we want to apologize that you cannot click the links in the description on YouTube because it's a new account and YouTube needs some time to get this account fully verified. Until then, there are no links. Sorry. You can read the, how is it called? The summary of this conversation on our website when I will include all the links. So you can go there to humanperimeter.com.
Yeah, but we are still working on it. We will get this done.
Yeah, we are still working on it. We are new, but we want everything get ready like a rolling machine, secure machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So that there was a lot of talking, especially from me.
Actually, I was the one. I got the feeling that I talked much more than last episode, but it's fine.
So, if you want to listen to Simon more next time, then just let us know. Drop us a line, and
Yeah.
no offense. So everything's fine here.
It's, the time flies, when we are recording and having really good topic, and we think about those kind of things. What, how, why, the
Yeah,
time flies.
we still have more topics in the loop, so
Oh,
might
don't
take
worry.
us some time to tackle all of those.
Don't worry. There will never be enough of topics because everything is happening really fast, and there will be always something to talk about.
Yep, definitely. So until then, do we have anything left? That's it for today.
Yep.
Then let's call it a day.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining us, for listening, and stay tuned in 2 weeks, same time, same place. See you.
See you next time in 2 weeks. Have a great time and always stay secure.